on this computer. Yeah. So I'm sharing my screen, guys. So first, let us understand what is VPC. So before going to VPC, I want to show you something. So 1 minute. Go to AWS Global Infrastructure. Okay. So I first let me explain you about in which countries, in which regions AWS is supported, and in different regions what are the different data centers we are having. All that I want to show you. Okay. On AWS Global Infrastructure. So if you come down, you can see this world map, right? So what are the blue color ticks you are having here are called AWS regions. While coming to India, we have one region in Mumbai. Okay. In India, we have only one region, that is in Mumbai. Okay. In Mumbai, we have three data centers. Okay. In AWS, data centers are called as availability zones. Okay. Okay. First of all, what is AWS region? First question, what is AWS region? The place where AWS resources are available are called AWS regions. Okay. So in India, while coming to India, we have a region called Mumbai region. Okay. In India, region in India, is Mumbai. Okay. Mumbai code enti AP-South-1. Okay. Mumbai region is AP-South-1, in which we have three data centers. Okay. If you scroll on Mumbai, you have three availability zones. That is nothing but three data centers. Those are called availability zones. Okay. In Mumbai region, we have three availability zones. Okay. Three availability zones. What are they? AP-South-1A and AP-South-1B and AP-South-1C. Okay. So these are the three available zones available in Mumbai region. Okay. See. Then what are these orange color marks? These are regions, new regions yet to come, yet to launch by AWS. So in India also recently AWS is investing huge. At most they're investing almost $2.5 billion in India for a new region. Actually, luckily that region is in Hyderabad. It's coming soon. Actually, they're planning two or three data centers in this region. So okay. So as of now, we have only one region which is operating successfully. That is called Mumbai region, whose code is AP-South-1, and it have three data centers, means three availability zones in Mumbai region. Means we have AP-South-1A, 1B and 1C. Let me explain you the diagram. Okay. So this is the worldwide map where the region and the place where AWS resources are available is called AWS region. Then what are availability zones? Inside the region there are different data centers, right? So those data centers are nothing but availability zones. Okay. Let me explain you via diagram. Okay. See, this is your Mumbai region. Okay. So yes, this is your Mumbai region. Okay. Whose code is, whose identity is AP-South-1, right? This is Mumbai region, AWS. So in this Mumbai region, I have three data centers. Okay. One is okay. One is AP-South-1A and AP-South-1B, and another one is AP-South-1C. So these are the three data centers which AWS provides us in Mumbai region. Okay. For example, if you went to US region, it have some have 5 regions, some have 6 regions. But while coming to India, we have a region called Mumbai region, AP-South-1, in which we have 3 data centers, means 3 availability zones. Okay, AZ1, this is AZ1, availability zone 1, and this is availability zone 2, and this is availability zone 3. Okay, so let's forget about VPC and all. Let's forget about VPC and all. Before VPC, how the scenario used to be, let's discuss. Let's get more into the detail. See, for example, guys, if I have a server, one server in this availability zone, okay, if I want have a server A, if I have a server A in 1A availability zone, and if I have a server B in 1C availability zone, let's assume, okay, you don't have any idea on servers, but let's assume, okay, server B, okay. See, before VPC I'm talking, without VPC, okay. So before VPC, how the scenario used to be is, I deployed one server, I provision one EC2 instance in availability zone 1A and another server B in availability zone 3. I mean AP-South-1C. Okay, if I want, this is, let's assume my front end application, and this is, let's assume second one is my back end application. I want to communicate, I want to establish the communicate between these two servers. Okay, so what I need to do previously, so basically I need to coordinate with my networking team, and here there used to be a one networking router, networking device, in which you need to configure these server details, and then communication will happen in such a way that first it will happen like this, from here to here, okay, and from here to here, okay, okay, like this communication will happen. Okay, so here the drawback is, so if I establish the communication, so understood here, right? Okay, here you understood, right? So now the drawback here is, one main reason is, wait, let me delete these things. So here in AWS cloud, what happens is, the interconnection between data centers is taken care by AWS. You need to involve these network routers and something. By default, AWS interconnects your data center with one data center by default. See, by default, data centers are connected internally like this. See. Okay, like this your data centers are connected internally by AWS itself. So AWS మొత్తం చూసుకుంటది అన్నమాట ఈ బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ అంతా, డేటా సెంటర్స్ కనెక్టివిటీ అంతా. ఓకే ఫైన్, ఇప్పుడు నాకు బాగానే ఉంది. సో ఇక్కడ VPC లేదు, వితౌట్ VPC నేను ఏం చేస్తానంటే, ఈ సర్వర్ ఏ వచ్చేసరికి ఏంటంటే, నాకు సర్వర్ ఏ వచ్చేసరికి ఎవరిదంటే సామ్సంగ్ వాడిది. సో లెట్స్ అస్యూమ్ ది సర్వర్ ఏ బిలాంగ్స్ టు సామ్సంగ్ అండ్ ది సర్వర్ బి belongs to OnePlus. Okay, so if my architecture is like this, there is a security breach, right? So by default in AWS, each data center is connected internally by AWS. Each data center is connected by default. But what if I launch OnePlus launched a server here, so another Samsung launched one server, so there will be chances that security breach will happen between these two companies. Okay, now Samsung can go and see OnePlus data and OnePlus can go and see Samsung data. So here the drawback is, here is, so one is security, and another one is IP addresses. So let's assume, so second drawback is IP addresses, IP address. Okay, IP addresses. See, these are the two challenges. For example, if Samsung is having IP of 10.1.0.0/, similarly OnePlus is also having same IP, there will be a chances of collision, right? So let's assume this is your flight. Okay, in flight you have a uh, unique ticket ID, right? So same ticket ID is not possible. So similarly here also, IP addresses should be different in this case. Okay, but we have drawbacks. One is security and another one is IP address. So in order to overcome this situation, AWS introduced a physical security layer called AWS VPC. Okay, this is a virtual private cloud. Okay, so this is your VPC. So basically your VPC, let's assume like this. See, let's assume like this. Okay, now see, I'm sorry. Now see, Samsung can have Samsung own with their virtual private network, and OnePlus can have their own physical layer of security. So if the servers are launched like this, so this is one VPC, right? So this is one VPC. So Samsung have their own VPC, their extra layer of security. Okay. Similarly, one similarly OnePlus is also having their own VPC. So now how the scenario will be? How the scenario will be means if and only if the servers are in this VPC, by default the communication will happen. Okay. So see, if I launch one more server here, only OnePlus can access this server. Okay. By default, these two servers will communicate if and only if they are in the same VPC. Okay. Now my issue got solved, right? Security issue got resolved. Now IP address. While coming to IP address, this VPC can have same IP address as the OnePlus IP. Same. Okay. Because as this will be in a different AWS account. Okay. So let's create one VPC. The architecture will be like this, VPC architecture. So first, what you need to do is, I will draw one VPC architecture. See guys, what we are going to create is, we need to create very high level architecture. Okay, we need to create one high level architecture. For example, if one data center goes down, our application should be available in another data center also. So like that, we need to redesign our architecture. So see, so now I created VPC, right? So I want to access my OnePlus application. How I will access? So for example, you have 10 devices in your home. You have iPad, you have one laptop, and you have two mobiles. For each device, you don't have each router, right? Each Wi-Fi router. You have one common Wi-Fi router for each device. Similarly, here also, to communicate with your server, to access your application in this VPC, we will create one internet gateway. Okay, we will create one internet gateway, and you will attach this to VPC. Then the communication will happen like this. If user hits your domain, name, this user hits this domain, the communication will come like this. It will come to your internet gateway. Okay, it will come to your internet gateway. From your internet gateway, each VPC have its own internet gateway. Okay, so then here it will come to your server like this. Okay, got it? So from here, the request will come to like this, Samsung server via internet gateway. Okay, so let's design our VPC architecture. In VPC, what we are going to create? First, let's create one VPC. This is your VPC. Inside the VPC, what I'm going to do is, so let's assume my network range. I need to define my network range. So these are the basic things which we are going to learn. Actually, no need to bother about VPC. because in real time there will be a separate team, networking team will be there, so they will take care of everything. It's networking related things. Okay, just for knowledge purpose I'm explaining all these details. Okay, first, in order to define network range, have you all know what is IP address and how IP addresses are defined? So in which IP, by looking into this side, for example, I will give you one IP address. So 23.5.44.5, is this a private IP or public IP? So you should be in a situation that whenever if you see the IP address, given IP address, you will be, I mean, you should be able to say whether this is a public or private. So simple technique, guys. Remember this formula. Any IP address that starts with 10.x.x.x is a private IP. Okay. Any I will tell you. Any IP address that starts with 192.168.x.x is a private IP. Any IP that starts with 172.y.x.x is a private IP. So X value ranges from 0 to 255 and Y value ranges from 16 to 31. Okay. Now I will give you one IP. So this is the private IP address ranges. So these are the private IP addresses ranges. Okay. So any IP that starts with 10 is a private IP. Remember that. Any IP that starts with 192.168.x.x is a private IP. So any IP address that starts with 172.16 to 31.0 to 255, anything is a private IP. Now I will give you one sample IP address. By looking into that, can you tell whether that is a IP is private or public? Okay. 172.30.48.200. Is this a private or public? Exactly. So this IP, is this public or private?
Public IPs.
Exactly. Public IP. Public IP. Got it right? Remember this simple formula for IP identification. So basically, have you know how IP addresses are designed? So how many IP addresses we are having right now? So see, nothing else. So basically, we are using IPv4 address, right? What is IPv4 address? Internet Protocol version 4. Okay, what is IPv4? Basically, how IP address will be? It will be in the form of n dot n dot n dot n, right? N dot n dot n dot n. I mean, you will have one number separated by full stop. Up to 4 digits you will find. Like for example, 45.65.65.78, like this. An IP address will be like this. So basically, so each byte, so this is each byte. Okay, each byte represent 8 bits. One byte equal to 8 bits. We already know that, right? So total how many bytes I am having? 4 bytes, right? So 4 into 8 is equal to how much? 32 bits. So that's why IPv4 addresses are called 32-bit address. Got it? Okay. That's why IPv4 addresses are called 32-bit address. So how many IP addresses are possible now? So computer can understand only zeros and ones, right? 0 and 1, binary. They will understand only in the binary digits. So now how many IP addresses are possible for 32-bit address? So 2 power 32 IP addresses are possible for IPv4, okay, which is approximately equal to 4 billion, okay, which is equal to 1 billion is nothing but 100 crores. 4 into 100, 400 crores IP addresses. Okay. Now these IP addresses are shortage, right? So now, so IPv4 is a shortage now. So in order to overcome this situation, they designed a new format IPv6, Internet Protocol version 6. It is actually 128-bit address. Okay, 128-bit address. Some companies like Google already started using IPv6. For example, if you go into any Linux terminal and if you hit a command called nslookup space google.com, so they are using IPv6 and as well as IPv4. Okay. So is this a public IP or private IP? Yes, public IP. Okay. So if you can hit this IP in the Google, if you hit this IP here, automatically it will redirect to Google. That is a public IP. Okay. Fine. Got it, right? The basic points we covered. So now what I want to do is I want to design one network. For my infrastructure with a networking range of, I will take any of this range, private IP. VPC means virtual private cloud. So I will design a network with any range, any private range. For example, let's create a VPC. First point. Create a VPC with 10.1.0.0/16. You need to understand what is this /16 and all. Okay, see, in AWS, any networking range, if you are creating any range of your network, you need to use this networking mask. For example, see, how many we are using IPv4, right? So IPv4 means 2 power 32, right? 2 power 32 IP addresses are possible. Okay. So if it is /8, means 2 power 32 minus 8, which is equal to 2 power 24, means which is equal to 2 power 24 value. Next, /16 means similarly 2 power 32 minus 16, which is equal to 2 power 16, which is equal to 65,000 IP addresses are possible in the given range. Okay, this is networking mask, guys. /8/16 is the networking mask. By default, AWS supports from /16 onwards. If you give your network range with /8, AWS won't support. By default, NID should be 16 in the AWS. That is funda. Okay. By default in AWS, the networking mask should be /16 only. So that's why what I did, I am going to create a VPC with any of this private network range. If you want to create 172 dot something, you can create like that. Okay. So I'm creating one VPC with this range 10.1.0.0/16. If I give /16 networking mask, how many IP addresses are possible? 65,000 IP addresses will come to my network. This is my network. Okay. And next thing, what I want to do now, I want to use these 65,000 IP addresses by dividing it into blocks. I want to divide the network into blocks. How? Dividing the network into blocks are nothing but subnets. Next, I will create 2 public subnets. Okay, 2 public subnets. And third, I will create 2 private subnets. First, let me explain you the diagram. So this is our VPC, right? So this range, what I have given, guys, this networking range. So this networking range, how much I have given? 10.1.0.0. This is my private IP, right? /16. What is the meaning of this? So in this network, 65,000 IP addresses are possible. So I want to use this 65,000 IP addresses. Like for example, I want to benchmark. Okay, for public subnets, I want only uh, 40 IP addresses. 40 IPs are required for this. For this subnet, I required 40. I required 256 IP addresses. Okay. For private subnets, I require 256 IPs. For public subnets, I require only 40 IPs. So how we are going to design the network? How we are going to design? We are going to design like this. See. So this is your private subnet, right? So let's understand what is a private subnet and public subnet first of all. Some simple guys, nothing. The meaning of public subnet is the subnets which are having direct route to internet gateway is called public subnets. Okay? The subnets, similarly, the subnets which are not having direct route to internet gateway is called private subnets. What is direct route? I will tell you. See, you will create two dummy subnets, right? You will name it as, how you will name it? You will name it as public subnet. You will name it as public subnet 1, and you will name this as public subnet 2. Similarly, you will create two private subnets. Okay. Two private subnets. Private subnet 2. So when these subnets are actually called as private and public. So when these subnets are called actually I created dummy subnets on some dummy subnets. Okay. And I'm saying this is a public and these two are private. How can I say? How when these subnets are actually called public? As I told, as we discussed, the subnets which are having direct route to internet gateway is called public subnets. So now what I will do, I create one route table. Okay, one route table, some simple route table. What I will do, guys, I will add these two public subnets in this route table. Okay, then how I will pass this route? I will pass this route to internet gateway. Okay, this is your internet gateway. Okay, internet gateway must be created and attached to the VPC. Okay, so what I will do? I will pass this route to our internet gateway. Fine. Now these two subnets are officially called as public subnets. Okay. Now these two subnets are not having any route to internet gateway, right? So these are called private subnets. So what if my application, so all the applications, all the servers which we are going to deploy should be in the private subnets. Then how you will access the instances which are in the private subnets? What you will do is you will create a NAT gateway and create one NAT gateway in the public subnet. Okay, and I will create one more separate route table for each private subnet. Okay, see what I will do, I will add this subnet in this route and I'll pass this route to this NAT gateway. See this NAT gateway from here. Got it? And similarly, what I will do, I will create one more route table. I will create one more route table, and I will add this subnet in this route table. Okay, and I will pass the route like this. Pass route like this. So why I am passing like this? I can create only one route table, no, for these two. Why I am doing like this? For high availability. See, so what I will do, I will create this public subnets in this public subnet in 1A availability zone, and I will create this public subnet in 1B availability zone. Similarly, I will create this private subnet in 1A availability zone, and similarly this private subnet in 1B availability zone, such that if one data center goes down, okay, from AWS side, for example, let's assume a scenario, if this data center goes down, automatically my application should be up in this. So for this purpose, what I did, I created separate route tables for private subnets, and I passed the route through NAT gateways. Got it? Any doubts? So you may get doubt, oh, why you created separate route tables for both private subnets, and why you created only single route table to public subnets. Exactly. So what is the meaning of public subnets, guys? The subnets which are having direct route to internet gateways are public subnets. For VPC, I can attach only one internet gateway. Anyway, public subnet should be connected to this internet gateway, right? So I created only one common route table, and I added these public subnets inside this route table, and I passed the route to internet gateway. Okay. Similarly, here also private subnet should have separate route tables. If I add this subnet also, let's assume what I will do is I will add this subnet also in this route table, and I will pass this route to this NAT gateway, 1A NAT. For example, let's assume if this 1A data center goes down, see, I added route like this. Two private subnets route in one route table, and I passed the route to this NAT gateway, and from here it is going to this internet gateway, right? Communication will happen like that. So what if this data center goes down, 1A data center goes down in AWS? So automatically the application which is in this subnet will go down automatically. So for high available architecture, we will design like that. Okay. Got it? So let's create hands-on so that you will understand. So what I will do is I will go to AWS Management Console, and I will search for VPC. Okay, VPC.
Actually, internet gateway is mandated for connecting to for two servers in different zones. So the second one, please go to the slide.
Yeah, tell me.
So we are saying when we are connecting private subnets only to the same route of this smaller route, it is not possible, right? The internet gateway.
Which one?
The second scenario which you told.
This one, private subnet one.
So you said you will be connecting private subnet 1B to private subnet 1A.
Route.
Yes. Is it possible that without internet gateway?
It is means what I am trying to say here is, see, let's assume scenario. Let's assume a scenario. I am attaching this subnet also to this route table. Okay, up to here clear, right? And what I am doing is I am passing the common route to 1A NAT gateway, which is in public subnet, and the route will pass through automatically this route and internet gateway. Like this communication will happen. Okay, like this. Okay. So what is your question?
My question was initially that at the start of the class you told when connecting two servers to different zones, internet gateway is mandatory, but in the second scenario, internet gateway is not mandatory.
In second scenario, this scenario, internet gateway is connected. No, how see this route where I am passing? This route I am passing to NAT gateway, which is in public subnet. Public subnet have direct route to internet gateway, right? Like that, the communication will happen. Fine. Okay. So what I will do is, so I will go and create VPC. Click on VPCs. Okay. Already, guys, AWS will give you one default VPC. If you are going to launch any servers, you can use this VPC for practice purpose, for understanding what is VPC, NAT gateways, route tables and all. You practice this session, and immediately after practicing, please terminate it. So future, when we are going to EC2 instances, you can launch your servers in this default VPC. Okay, this is chargeless. Okay, up to VPC and public subnets internet gateway, there will be any no charge. There is no charge. But if you are using this NAT gateways, they will charge. Okay, got it? Okay, let's go to VPC. So what is our assumption? So what is our scenario? First, okay, first step, create a VPC with this network range. Okay, fine. Now go to VPC, create VPC. VPC name is sample-demo I will give. And it is asking IPv4 CADR block. Means what is the network range for your, what is the network range for your network? What is CADR means? Classical interdomain routing, classless interdomain routing. In AWS, network range is called CADR. Remember that. So what is the range I am going to give? Some 10.1.0.0. I told you network mask should be by default from 16, 17, 18 like that, anywhere you can give. But it is not possible to give 8. See, if I give /8 and if I try to create VPC, it will not work. It must be valid IPv4 CADR. That means it should have /16 by default. Means from /16, /17, you can take any range, guys. So if I give /16, total how many IP addresses are possible in my given network range? 65 IP addresses are possible. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to create this tenancy. I will cover in EC2. Here you won't understand, there you will understand. So as of now, we are using no IPv6. So we are going with IPv4 only. Okay. Go and create VPC. Okay, fine. You created one VPC. Fine. So now what I will do? Next step. Next step, according to our architecture diagram, create two subnets. One is public subnet 1A. In which availability zone you have to create? In 1A availability zone. This subnet you need to create in 1B availability zone. Before that, what you will do is create one internet gateway and attach to this VPC. Okay. So here what I will do is second step, create one internet gateway and attach it to VPC. So what I will do, here you will find internet gateways. Okay. Create internet gateway. Name you can give anything. Sample-demo I will give. And I will create internet gateway. Only I created internet gateway. But next step, what I have to do? Create internet gateway and attach to VPC. So how you are attaching, guys? So go to actions and attach to VPC. And here you will find your VPC name and attach internet gateway. Fine. So up to here we are covered. Okay. We created one VPC and we created one internet gateway and attach it to our VPC. Fine. Now what I will do? I will create two public subnets. One is in 1A availability zone and in another one is another availability zone. See, for public subnets, I require only few IP address because all the applications will be launched in private subnets. But I don't want much IP addresses to these subnets. So how can I design? I want only, let's assume 40 IPs. So how much networking range / how much I should give to get 40 IPs? If I give 2 power 16, 2 power 32 minus 16, I got 65,000. This I am dividing the network into some parts. I am calling private subnets and public subnets like this. So I want to assign only 40 IP addresses to this subnet. So how you will design? So how you will design is you need to calculate. How you will calculate? See, let's assume 2 power 32 minus 26. 2 power 32 minus 26. Value is how much? 2 power 6. 64, right? You will get 64 IP addresses, right? If you go with 2 power 32 minus 25, so you are getting 128. 27 if you go, 2 power 32 minus 27, 2 power 5, only 32, which is not in my range. I want 40. So near value is I got 2 power 26, means 2 power 6, 2 power 32 minus 26, 2 power 6. 2 power 6 means 64 IP addresses are possible. So if you give 2 power slash 26, you are going to get only 64 IP addresses to this subnet. But here one important point what you need to remember is, so AWS won't give you this 64 IPs, in which they will reserve 5 IP addresses by default. Okay, why? So you will get only 59 IP addresses, guys. Okay. Then what about remaining 5 IP addresses? Why they are reserving? So one IP address will go to networking, and another IP address will second IP address will go to network router. Okay, network router, and similarly, like third IP address will go to DNS server, and 4 and 5 IP address will be reserved by AWS. This will be reserved by AWS. Got it? So in interview, the person who is going to take interview are also don't know this question. The basics you need to remember. Okay. So if you are creating a subnet with 40 IP addresses, what a range I will give? Slash 26, right? Slash 26 means 2 power 32 minus 26. So 2 power 6 IP addresses are possible to this subnet. I will get 64 IP addresses. For not, I will get only 59. Why? Because 5 will be reserved by AWS. Okay, one is for networking, another one is for networking router, one is for DNS server, and another 2 are for reserved by AWS. Okay. See, now what I will do? I will create one public subnet and 2 public subnets. Okay. Now go to subnets on the left hand side and click on create subnet. Okay. Select VPC. In which VPC you are going to create subnets? Our VPC, right? In drop down, select our sample demo VPC and create a subnets. So I am going to give public subnet -1a and availability zone. In which availability zone I need to create? So this, as I am creating in US East -1 region, I have 6 availability zones. But in Mumbai, you will find only 3. So here I will create in US East -1a. Okay. And the network range for this should be 10.1.1.0/26. Okay. Okay. So I will get only 59 IP addresses. And next, add new subnet. Public subnet 1B, and I'm going to create in 1B availability zone. So US East -1B. So this range I'm going to give 10.1.2.0/26. Okay. Now go and create subnet. So 2 subnets are created, guys. So if you go and see what is our goal, how we design. So I want 40 IPs. Okay, I gave near value /26, in which I got 64 IPs. 5 will be reserved by AWS. I should get only 59 IPs. Let's check. So scroll down. So sorry, scroll side to this. So you're going to see available IPs only 59. Okay, 5 will be reserved by AWS. Got it right? So I'm going to create one route table. Next step is I created these 2 subnets, and what I will do, I will create this route table. I will add these 2 subnets in this route table, and I'll pass the route to this internet gateway. See, create one route table, create a route table. I will call public-route table. Okay. And VPC, in which VPC you are going to create? Our own VPC, sample demo VPC. Create. We created one route table, right? So now what I'm going to create? I created this route table. Next goal is adding these 2 subnets in this route table and passing the route to this internet gateway. Okay. Public route table. Go to subnet associations and add your both public subnets. Click on these 2. Save. Go to routes and edit routes. Okay. Now what you will do, guys? You should add a route to destination is to anywhere from the internet. 0.0.0.0/0 means anywhere. Target is my internet gateway. Which internet gateway? Sample demo internet gateway. Save routes. Got it? Got it? Now this part is clear. We created two subnets in each availability zone. We created one route table, added these two subnets into this route table, and passed the route to internet gateway. Similarly, you need to create two NAT gateways in these two public subnets, and you need to create two private route tables. You need to do this setup. Let's do. Now create NAT gateways. Create NAT gateway. So public hyphen NAT 1A I'll give, and I'm going to create in public subnet 1A, guys. Okay, public subnet 1A. Okay, and for NAT gateway requires one IP address, which is called elastic IP. Elastic IP address means fixed IP address. Fixed IP address. So it is asking fixed IP that I will teach you in EC2. As of now, I am allocating elastic IP. Click on elastic, allocate elastic IP, and create NAT gateway. Similarly, I will create one more NAT gateway. It will take some time. NAT gateway is going to take some time. Okay. Create one more NAT gateway called public hyphen NAT 1B and create a subnet. In which subnet? Public subnet 1B. Okay. Create allocate elastic IP and create NAT gateway. For this, AWS will charge you for NAT gateways. Okay. Okay, fine. Now what I will do, guys? Meanwhile, NAT gateways will going to create in these two subnets. I will create these two route tables and I will add each subnet into this route table and pass the route. Let's see. To create route table, private route 1A, choose VPC and create route table. Go to your route table, subnet associations, edit subnet associations and add your private subnets. As of now, we haven't created private subnets. What I will go to subnets, create subnet, select VPC and create two more subnets called private 1A. Okay. Private hyphen subnet hyphen 1A. Name you can give anything. And availability zone, in 1A availability zone I am creating. So here 10.1. I gave one more. So here I will start with 100.0/26. Okay. I want 256 IPs right now. For private subnet, I want 256 IPs. 256 IPs means what is the subnet mask I need to provide? 2 power 24. 24 is fine, right? 2 power 32 minus 24, how much? 2 power 8, which is equal to 256. Okay? 5 will be gone, right? Then you need to take another below value. 2 power 23. 23 means 2 power 32 minus 23, how much? 9. 2 power 9. So 2 power 8 is 256. 2 power 9 is 512. Out of 512, AWS will take 5 IPs for me. I will get 507 IP address. Okay. I am giving /23, guys. Okay. I am creating one more subnet, private subnet 1B. And availability zone 1B availability zone I am choosing. I am giving 101.0/23. Okay. One create subnet. Overlaps with existing CIDR. CIDR address available in subnet set and not 101.
Is it used by someone else or?
No. Wait. So if I give Okay, so now how many IP addresses I will get, guys? How many IP addresses I will get? See, 507. Actually, how many should come? 5 all should come. 5 are reserved by AWS, 507. Okay, fine. So what I will do is I created private route to one here, right? Go to subnet associations, edit subnet associations, and give your private IP address. Okay, private subnet 1A. Save. Similarly, in routes, what I need to do? Edit routes, add route, destination 0.0.0/0 to where I am adding to NAT gateway. Which NAT gateway? Public NAT what needs save. That's it. Simple. So similarly, create one more route table for private 1B, private route 1B. Choose VPC, and create, and add your one more private subnet. You need to add this thing. Okay, private subnet 1B. Okay, save. Now go to routes. So which route table I have? Sorry guys. So sorry. I selected that route table only. Okay, sorry. So you have to select private route 1B route table. Subnet associations. Add your private subnet 1B. Save. And click on routes. Edit routes. Add route. Okay, to NAT gateway. So which NAT gateway? Public NAT 1B. Save routes. That's it. Okay, go to subnets now. Go to subnets. The public. Go to your public subnets. Click on your public subnet. Actions. Modify auto SN IP settings are there now. Click on that and enable auto SN IPv4 address. Okay, this means any resource you are launching in this subnet, any server or anything, automatically AWS will assign you one public IP address to your server. Okay, for only public you need to choose that. Okay, that's it guys. Now go to your VPC, go to your VPC, go to actions, and edit DNS hostnames is there now. If you enable this with IP, AWS will provide you one custom DNS name with this is a public DNS name. Which you can access your servers using DNS name also. Okay. You can go to Google and you can put this IP address or this DNS name. Your website will come. You can access your. Okay, got it. So this is the very high available architecture which we design now. Real time we are using this kind of architecture. Okay. I'm teaching everything in real time what we are doing. If you go out, what they will do, simply they will create VPC subnets and they will close it. But you need to understand what is VPC. Okay, how IP addresses are allocated, why AWS are giving only these IPs. Okay, so got clear, right? So you guys please practice this session. If any doubts, please put it in the group. Okay, such that everyone can understand. And please make sure to create your AWS accounts and practice this session. As soon as you practice, please terminate it. Okay, please terminate it. Yeah, I will show you how to terminate. Okay, first go to your VPC, and first what I need to do is you need to go to NAT gateways. Okay, please delete your NAT gateways. Actions, delete NAT gateway. Okay, so it will take anyhow some time. So second NAT gateway, delete. Okay, basically, to say frankly, you don't require this much of knowledge on VPC, because as I told you, in real time in our organization, complete networking team will be taking care of all these things. So to get you all the complete knowledge, I have taught this and everything. Okay. So after deleting NAT gateways, go to VPCs. your sample demo, actions, delete VPC. I think NAT gateways are still deleting now. It will take some time. After deleting NAT gateways, you can delete this VPC. Everything route tables, subnets attached to this VPC, everything will be deleted in NAT gateway. First, manually you need to terminate your NAT gateways. Okay. Any doubts up to here, guys?
This AWS website shows a flowchart.
Which flowchart?
Flowchart which we, the architecture which we created.
No. If you go to EC2 console, you can find. See, this is our EC2 console, our upcoming sessions. Okay. If you go here, you can find. If you can come down, see, I'm using this region, North Virginia, US East FN1. So in this total 6 availability zones are there. All are running normally. Okay.
So companies create 3 servers in 3 servers or only in packs.
Sorry?
Like backend servers, one we are creating backend server, right? If one goes wrong. So companies create 3 parallel servers. High level.
So high level architecture will be in such a way that you will maintain your applications in multiple availability zones, okay? In private subnets. On the top of that, we will launch a load balancer such that load balancer will give us one DNS name. That DNS name will point out to one domain. Okay. By hitting that domain, how the requests will come? Request will come to your load balancer DNS name. Below load balancer, you have 3 servers. Automatically, request will serve to all these 3 servers. For example, if one data center goes down, one server will go down, right? Automatically, AWS backend algorithms will take care. Automatically, requests will be redirected to these 2 servers. One request will come to this, one request will come to round robin algorithm. Those are in EC2 we are going to cover, okay? So these 2 elastic IPs are there, no, which I created. I'm going to release these elastic IPs. Okay, release elastic IPs. Now go to your VPCs, click on actions, delete VPC, and type delete. Okay, first make sure to delete NAT gateways and release elastic IPs. Okay, delete. So someone is asking, sir, will AWS charge something for creating these gateways? Yes. So if you create NAT gateways, they will charge you. But for internet gateway and VPC and public subnets, they won't charge you. That's why by default, AWS provided us some default VPC, right? If you go into subnets, if you go into this subnet, all these subnets are public subnets only. There are no private subnets. All these subnets are public subnets only. And they have one common internet gateway also. Okay. And they have one common route table also, in which what AWS is doing. If you go to subnet associations, they are adding all these subnets into one public route table. They are passing this to internet gateway, which is free for you. Okay. You can create one VPC, one internet gateway, and multiple public subnets, and you can pass public subnets via public route to internet gateway. That is absolutely free. If and only if you create NAT gateways, they will charge you for elastic IPs and NAT gateways. Clear?
So in practice, we should not create NAT gateways.
Practice. You do practice. You understand the scenarios.
As
soon as possible, you terminate it. That's my suggestion. Okay. Okay, fine, guys. On tomorrow's sessions, you get the basic knowledge of VPC enough. So from tomorrow's sessions, those are important, in which we are going to see how to create servers, how to manage servers, how to scale the servers. If the requests come 1 lakh requests per day, how to handle that situation, how to scale, how to load balance, how to create EBS volumes, how to partition. These are the important things. Okay? So VPC, get the basic knowledge, it is enough. Okay, guys, thank you. As soon as possible, I'll update this video and yesterday's video. in the Google Drive. Subbu will provide you access. You guys ping him in the group. Immediately he will provide you the access. Fine. Yeah. Bye.